a great inspiration for us, because most of the thoughts that he will cover, if we put it into practical terms, we see that they are relevant and they are something that will enrich us in the future, in the present and in the future. So, like we have said before, alumni of Buffalo University, we will say, what did he study? He's a musician who become a spiritualist. He knows different, he knows different instruments. And when we say using what you have for the service of the Lord, he's an exemplary personality to that effect. He have acquired this musical skill. He didn't put it outside to acquire wealth, but instead he's using it for the pleasure of God. So there is no instrument he's not familiar with. So he's going to lead us in a solemn prayer. After the prayer, then he will begin his thoughts, which is normally we talk about simple living, high thinking. Today, a lot of people are devoid of this science of living simple and thinking higher. There is always the tendency, not until I acquire the word, I cannot be happy. Therefore, the idea of simple living, it becomes null and void among the present generation of today. So here we talk we hammer some basic points that are relevant to this present generation. Then we will proceed from there and like that.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. A little bit about me. Actually, I was born in Europe, in the Mediterranean. And my mother and my brother, we came to Buffalo, New York when I was 6 years old. I failed the first grade. I couldn't speak English. But I grew up in Buffalo, and I went to University of Buffalo for music. But I was interested in meditation and yoga. At that time in the 70s, mid-70s, many gurus, swamis, and yogis were coming, and I think, particularly in America, they were searching for spiritual guidance, something, people were taking LSD, and they come from good families, but a lot of hippies ended up because they didn't want to have the same lifestyle as their parents, just working, making money, and trying to be happy. Tribhunath, I'm talking. So sit down.
I'm sorry, sir.
You guys are conversing over there in your own little way, huh?
I'm sorry, sir.
That's okay. I'll chastise you later. But I was following Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, Transcendental Meditation. I was reading Bhagavad-Gita. Only had 6 chapters. But then I met devotees and I read Prabhupada's Bhagavad-Gita, saw the chanting and dancing, and it seemed like something I'd like to look after. It's been more than 50 years. I was young, over 70 now. So somehow or other I joined the temple in Florida. I met Prabhupada in 1976 for the bicentennial in Washington, D.C. They had a big celebration for the 200th anniversary. And Prabhupada came there for that celebration, and many of us went to see, because actually Prabhupada was very, very moving, and for us he was giving us the true understanding of Bhagavad Gita and the purpose of life. So we were very excited to see Prabhupada, and I managed a project in Florida for a while, and I've been here for almost 35 years, really. My 2 sons went to school in the Gurukula. My older son, he's 40, he's the officer in Coast Guard Reserve and also sergeant in the police department in Gainesville, Florida. But they call him Veggie Boy, So, and 2 grandsons, and I started them, we were reading a little Bhagavatam together. I thought that's a good way to, you can see 14 and 12, but immediately when you're reading the Vedic literature, it provokes your thoughts and ideas about the purpose and goal of life. So anyway, I'm here and hoping that trying to do some service. We have book distribution, we have broadcasting, high definition broadcasting, and a lot of classes and kirtan. So we'll do a little kirtan. Okay? This is old harmonium is pretty dead. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Rama, that mantra, Mahamantra, Allen Ginsberg, he was a famous poet, so famous with I would say the younger generation. And when Prabhupada came in 65, he was already chanting the Mahamantra for a few years, in I think 63 and 64. Like he visited India and picked up the Mahamantra. And the mantra, Krishna, names of God, Rama and Hare, they say, Kali Kalira Dharma Krishna Nam Sankirtan, that the Dharma for this age is calling out the name of God. In other religions, they say, hallowed be thy name. From the rising of the sun to the setting of the sun, one should call out the name of God. So although there are different types of yoga and meditation recommended in Bhagavad-Gita, karma yoga, Arjuna didn't want to do this battle of Kurukshetra, and everybody is looking for peace and happiness, but there was different types of yoga for different ages. But the age we're living in is called Kali Yuga. And Kali Yuga, people's lives, maybe you could live to 100 years, but in previous ages, Satya Yuga, long duration of life, and it was everyone was following religious principles of virtue and mode of goodness. Then Treta Yuga, lifespan was reduced. It's hard to imagine someone can live 1,000 years or 10,000 years, but different ages, there were different lifespans. And as the progression of the age from Satya to Treta, Dwapara, then virtues were deteriorating. Also, different bad qualities were developing. As we enter Kali Yuga, people are actually very slow in spiritual advancement, and they're easily disturbed, and ready for a good fight at any time, quarrelsome. But Krishna consciousness is based on Guru Parampara, based on the teachings of Vyasadeva, the Vedic culture from Sanskrit, all the Puranas, and all the different Vedic literatures. The summary of them was written by Srila Vyasadeva in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam. And Srimad Bhagavatam is a story also, but King Parikshit was an emperor 5,000 years ago, and it's a long story, but cursed to live for only 7 more days. You heard of Bhagavad Sapta, so that's become popular, a 7-day rendering of the Srimad Bhagavatam. But because of his power and position, many, many great personalities from different places assembled on the bank of the Ganges, and Shukadeva Goswami narrated the Srimad Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj, who listened very attentively, not even drinking water or eating, and no fatigue, or just somehow, because of the transcendental subject matters of glorifying the Supreme Personality of Godhead and discussing what is the purpose and goal of life. That we have these material bodies, just like any kind of electronic instrument, without a battery or without the source of power, it's just made of earth, water, fire. It's just a piece. So what is the body? The body's temporary, but the soul is eternal. So Krishna is telling Arjuna, na jayate murete vakadachin nayang bhutva bhavata vanabuya ajonitya shashvato yang purano nahanyate hanyamane sharire. Soul is eternal, ever existing, undying, and primeval. He told Arjuna that we've all existed in the past, because eternal means we're ever existing. We exist now in this particular form, and we can continue to exist in the future. So human life, it goes by very, very quickly. Most, childhood, we're busy playing, going to school. Then when you become old enough, you're looking, man meets woman, woman meets man, make family, work hard, have a good living, have a nice car, a nice bungalow, enough money to take care of all the various necessities of life. You produce byproducts, you dwindle, and you die. But human life is actually meant for questioning, who am I? What is the purpose of life? Where am I going at the time of death? And so, although we do have to take care of responsibilities, I was brahmachari, like him, for 9 years. That means, just a student studying and preaching. And I've been married now 43 years. And then have to take care of responsibilities. You have to do your duties, your work. Arjuna Krishna didn't say don't fight. You're a warrior. You're a kshatriya. You're trying to uphold religious principles because people were becoming degraded, and Krishna wanted to reestablish the Guru Parampara, meaning that he told Arjuna, I spoke the same science to the sun god millions of years ago. And Arjuna said, how is that? We're both contemporaries. How you spoke? As Krishna says, you were there also. We've existed in the past. We're existing now. We continue to exist in the future. When you look at like the universe, and here we are in 2026, just a little on planet Earth floating in outer space with so many varieties of life. And anyone with a little bit of introspection can recognize that with so many planets, the sun, the moon, and everything coordinated to float and spin, and how the sun is providing sunlight for fruits and flowers and vegetative growth, and how the different administrative higher beings are providing rain, and from a little seed you can produce a huge tree that can produce unlimited seeds, and just so much is provided for us, and we take it for granted. We think, well, it's just nature. Mother Nature's providing all this. But Krishna, even Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the great acharyas all recognize Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha, Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karna Karnam. So Krishna, he established the divisions of mankind. Just like you have a head with a brain that's actually doing the thinking and controlling and giving administrative orders, and the hands are there for protection, the belly is there for nourishment, the legs carry the whole system. So this is like brahmanas are meant to be the priestly class, or the intellectuals, like doctors. You know, you're on a level where you're utilizing your intellect, your brain, and understanding to not only help others, but at the same time give directions and guidance. And then we have administrative, like the government's supposed to be giving guidance and providing for all the citizens. Then we have the Vaishyas, which are growing in the produce in the agricultural fields, taking care of the food and the various nourishments to keep us alive and going. Then we have the general workers who are happy just to have a job and be guided so that they can perform their duties. It's not a caste system. It's just like the body. The head has a function, the arms have a function, the belly has a function, the legs have a function, and each one is happy in their own capacity. So Gandhi was trying to get people to go back to the villages in one sense and become self-sufficient, because you can't eat nuts and bolts. Technology is wonderful, science is great, but ultimately you have to nurture the land and produce food, and the education system has to be there. And the education that was provided is based on the teachings of Bhagavad-Gita. And Bhagavad-Gita is the science of self-realization, meant to awaken our spiritual lives. Because we're all eternally spiritual beings. Jivera Swarupoy Krishnera Nityadas. And we might think, well, that's, God and, surrender. I have more important things, more responsibilities, other much more important activities that need to be performed. But actually, human life, if we utilize our intelligence and our desire to understand, we're given guidance. And Krishna's helping in the form of, it says, one who has faith in the Lord, he reveals and gives the understanding. Just like 500 years ago, Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda appeared in Bengal, and there Krishna and Balaram, the Lord appears again and again, and we might think, well, how God can appear, on earth or whatever. He's unlimited. Of course, it's like if you're the father of everyone, every living being, you're caring for your children. He's of all species of life, he's the father. And all the varieties of life that's there is due to the karma. Karma na daivana trena. In human life is a rare opportunity because in human life we can question, who am I? What is the purpose of my life? And how can I get free from this samsara, the cycle of birth and death? And so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made it easier for all of us because we don't have a long duration of life. We can sit in meditation in the Himalayan mountains or go to the forest. So this chanting of Krishna's holy name is the process of awakening our spiritual consciousness. And that's what we're doing. We're chanting, we're doing deity worship, prasad distribution, food offered to the Lord. And we're printing many books on Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad-Gita to systematically propagate the science of Krishna consciousness. I gave a class this morning, so I'm all out of it. But anyway, this is something that's very quite unique. And if you actually, with an open mind, read Bhagavad-Gita and keep the association of devotees, you'll get inspiration. I've been inspired for over 50 years, and I hope that we can inspire some of you. So can we have questions and answers, or you want to say something more? I just thought I'd just speak a few minutes, you know.
No matter how you try to patch it, the more you try, the more a different part of it will begin to give problem. This body is like an empty pot. No matter what we do to preserve this body, if we work on here today, tomorrow it will be back. If we work on the back, tomorrow it will be leg. If we work on the leg, tomorrow it will be eyes. So we see it becomes infinite too. So there is something that gives us this kind of belief that if we understand this thing, we just have to, oh yeah, this is the nature of what I have. As Srila Prabhupada will often tell us, making use of the bad bargain. Though this body cannot be seen as a bad thing because we need this body for a higher purpose. But not understanding this purpose, that is what we may say unfortunate. But we are here today because of this, important discussion that relates to health. Health. So here, our distinguished have thrown some light. We have two other persons who we want to speak from a spiritual angle before we take our distinguished professor, Gaurav Singh, to broaden us from that aspect of, that we really want to cover today. So we call on Jayanita Prabhu. Is a HOD of one of the departments. Just like you understand this organization, we have devotees care.
Not scare, but care. We scare them sometimes, but we care about them.
We know this care is coming from somewhere. Socrates once see himself as a midwife. And we all know the duty of a midwife. What is the duty of a midwife?
Well, my both sons were born by a midwife. But my midwife was very much in anxiety when she saw my head, how big it was. And she thought to my wife, she goes, you're going to have problems.
So the function of a midwife is to actually help the pregnant woman. Hey, bring it little, give hope. So he is on that caliber, trying to encourage the devotee that you can do more than this. Try to follow some regulative, pattern. Try to, be concerned with your. So he is in charge of devotees' care. I'm sure you must have encountered with him. He's a very distinguished person, very reserved, very gentle. He's a good friend of mine. So he will speak the significance, of mantra in everyday life. Please, the floor is for you, sir.
Yeah, we see a lot. We see a lot of that. My one close friend who is he took initiation in 1969, but he's like 78 years old. Many people come to Vrindavan to leave their bodies, And so I was in Florida, and they sent me a video. He was like on his last breath. I said, Gopal, And we were chanting just for 1 minute, and he passed away at that time in Vrindavan during the Rath Yatra, Mathura Rath Yatra. So we see how quickly, although when we're young and vibrant, we don't think too much about old age, disease, and death. That's who wants to think about those things? Those are, But actually, it comes very, very quickly, and we're trying to utilize our time for understanding more and more about our going back home, back to the spiritual kingdom, because this world is a temporary place of repeated birth and death, from the highest planet to the lowest planet. And you may have a demigod body, very beautiful body, born in a very affluent family, and all the, pleasures and happiness of life may be available to you, but it's all temporary, and it's all taken away. We come in this world with nothing. We may accumulate some PhDs and great wealth, but when we leave again with nothing. So Krishna is giving us guidance, and he's giving us inspiration, how we can live a simple lifestyle, free from anxiety, free from worry, because we feel confident that we're in the service of the Lord, and we have a society where we're all really inspired by each other, with little faith, little sadhu sangha association. Bhajanakriya means we give up the bad habits. And then there's ruchi, and there's bhava, there's taste. There's a higher consciousness which is uncovered, unveiled by chanting and by hearing. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam. You may have heard of Prahlad Maharaj and Lord Nrsingadev. Nrsingadev told Prahlad Maharaj, his son, what's the best thing you learned from your teachers? He said, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanavedanam. That means hearing about the Lord, chanting his glories, remembering him, serving him, offering prayers, fully surrendering to the Lord. Hiranyakashipu didn't like that. He said, no. Anyway, it's a long story, Bhagavatam. You want to speak something? I stay here, I know, but I'll give you the microphone. They heard enough of me.
Hare Krishna.
Matter of fact, we talk to each other all the time because
Hare Krishna.
we always have situations to deal with.
Yeah, I just want to inform you basically that the doctor, the Dr. Gaurav, so he was there during COVID. During COVID, so Prabhuji was also here in Vrindavan during COVID, during that time basically. So Dr. Gaurav was handling the COVID section in KD Medical Hospital. So we were coordinating with the government facilities about the patients going and getting admitted in COVID hospital. So he was there facilitating our devotees over there. So we have...
That was a difficult time.
Yeah. So, so my name is Jay Nitai Das. So,
Where are you from?
I basically come from northeast of India, that is from Assam. So I have a technical background basically. So I studied computer science in my graduation, and for the last 25 years I had been practicing Krishna consciousness. So what I wanted to speak is that basically we all know, you all are much aware how modern science functions, and by the news and everything, now you must be seeing the news, how the uprisings, the Gen Zs and all those coming up, their motivations, what they think about this Sanatan Dharma, all the reels that are being made. They have their own opinions basically, they have their own productivity, they have their own, what they want to gain it from. But it seems that whatever is being streamlined on the media, sometimes it becomes knowledge, sometimes it becomes an accepted fact So we think that this is what Sanatana Dharma is. So this is what Hinduism is. So what are the sages they have done? What are the Vedic ethos? What are the Vedic scriptures they have come from? So should we give some credit to this, the real making, some, we don't know, I mean, we may say them obsessed or some fanatically, some kind of mindset which are going towards, or we can say which are totally programmed towards this Indic civilization basically. So is it what basically what Sanatana Dharma is? Is it what Hinduism is? Is it what our roots are? Is it what we are proud of? Is it what we are proud of basically? So they are changing the textbooks, correct? So Babur, Akbar and all the histories are being changed. We have read it. We have read it basically. It is inside our mind. So, but the thing is that now the younger generations, they are going to read something different, basically, correct? So we have to come to the reality basically. So Srila Prabhupada had this vision. Srila Prabhupada, he was the founder Acharya of ISKCON. So when he went to the West, he had this vision. So he wanted to introduce the essence of Sanatana Dharma. What exactly the Dharma is basically. Can someone say of you, you are all so much into, just like Prabhuji has said, into studies and everything. What exactly do you understand by Dharma? Because I mean, it's supposed to be interactive, no? Someone, yes? I mean, excluding Dr. Gaurav, I know he knows it, but I am someone from behind. What exactly is Dharma? Pardon?
The righteous conduct of life.
The
Righteous conduct.
The righteous conduct of life. Okay, yeah, that is a very complicated definition. Yeah, can someone add something more to it? What? Yeah. Duty of a human being. Correct. Okay. Yes, that's great. Yeah. So you see, it comes from a dha shabda. Dha basically is a Sanskrit root. Dha, it comes, then dharma it comes. Dha means dharana shakti. Dharana shakti basically. What is fluidity? Without fluidity can water exist? Without sweetness can sugar exist? Would you define sugar if it doesn't have sweetness? Would you say it is sugar? What is the dharma of sugar then? Sweetness. What is the dharma of water then? It flows, correct? So we get an understanding, correct? It's a basic understanding. So one of our very learned guests today has said that the dharma of the human being is what? It's duty. So what is our duty? Is this what we are doing? Our duty is teacher being a profession, that is our duty. Is someone singing songs for films, that is a duty. What do you mean by duty? It's a very vague and it's a very broad kind of statement, correct? It's a very broad basically. Now we have to, narrow it down. What exactly dharma is basically. So Prabhuji, basically I will quote him. He has said, Jiver Swarup Krishna Nityadas. Correct? Jiver Swarup. I will basically decode it. It means basically, you see, the existence that we have, without the soul, I will explain it how. Without the soul, the body cannot function. We cannot exist. There is a term called consciousness, and it's most difficult to understand basically. Correct? Because the thing is that, because modern science doesn't say what consciousness is. Just like you must have studied, mind is the software of the brain, correct? Yeah, the brain basically, all the neurons and all this, all everything. But where does the mind exist? Because psychiatry, psychology, which is the study of the mind basically, where does mind exist? Correct? Can we pinpoint the position where the mind is? So what does science say? It is just like in computer, the hardware is there, the Windows, everything is the software. Similarly, the mind is the software of the brain, correct? Okay, so we have different channels and everything. How does, from these channels of the mind, thoughts, perceptions, emotions are generated? Correct? That is a gap. That is a gap basically what is science fails to make it very clear. How from this framework, the thoughts which are so subtle, the emotions, the feelings of happiness, they are being generated. So now, I'll try to give a paradigm basically. I'll come to the dharma aspect. What is the Vedic paradigm for explaining what the mind is? Or the whole basically, the factor, how this whole mental faculty works. You know, we had an acharya, his name was Bhakti-Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So he was the spiritual teacher of Srila Prabhupada. And he worked in Manipur, state of Manipur. So he worked in the court of the king of Manipur. In Manipur, there was a unique dish. So this dish, he used to say, so fish, no? They used to have fish. They used to put this fish and they used to have this bind up in a cloth. They used to dig a pit and put it inside the pit for 7 days, and they used to cover it. And after 7 days, they used to pick it out. And from what happens is that because they have put a cloth in it, there is the juice that comes out, it filters out from the cloth. And basically, I mean, it forms a kind of a solution. So when it is taken out, for those people, mixed with a bit of herbs, it's a delicacy. It's a delicacy. Can you imagine a fish, after it becomes rotten, kept into the, pit, and after it comes out, what? No, it's a kind of very good, sweet smelling delicacy for them, basically, a community of people. But for us, Bhakti-Siddhanta Saraswati, as soon as it is taken out, within the half a kilometer radius, everything, the whole smell permeates. No one is able to withstand the smell. It is so stinking. How the same fish, I want this question for you. How the same fish produces a good sensation for some and a repellent sensation for others? How? Yeah, you got my point, no? Correct? So, how does it? For one faction of people, so sensation is very good. For another section, sensation, they can't stand it. They can't stand it. It also happens in a life, no? Sometimes, for some, the smell is very wonderful, but for some other, it doesn't work. Have you heard about this placebo effect? Can you connect now? So this is the thing basically, you see, whenever some external stimulus comes from the 5 senses, the mind also, they are the recipient of the stimulus. Okay? So now the thing is, for example, the stimulus is an apple. It's an apple. It's coming up. Now it is in the mind. You have the image of the apple. Just imagine, basically. You have the image of an apple. Now, what is the next conclusion that comes to your mind? The next is, you have not identified it, what exactly it is, but you have the shape of it. The image of an apple is there in your mind. But now what does it? The intellect or the buddhi comes into the picture. The buddhi basically will give you a decision, what exactly it is. So how does it do it? Have you heard about this name Chitta? Huh? Chitta Vritti Nirodha. That is the first statement basically of Yoga Sutras, correct? Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Chitta basically is the storehouse, or it's the subconscious of all the memories that we have. It is there. It is the subconscious basically. Chitta is the subconscious. Where does your experience of good and bad get stored? It is in the chitta, or it is called a subconscious. In our Bhagavatam, we give the analogy of an iceberg. You know, iceberg, little bit 1/4 stays up, the 3/4 it is below. The 1/4 is the conscious mind. It is called the manas. We receive things, manas. And the 3/4 is basically below the water. So it is known as the chitta. So now, the buddhi goes and checks. It goes and checks from the previous experiences. Goes and checks from the previous experience what exactly it is. So then it says, oh, previously you had experienced it. This is called an apple. Now, what is the taste of the apple? Memory, the taste is there or not? It is there. But how does the memory taste becomes real? How do you remember it's real? Memory is fine, it is history, it is there, stored, okay? But how does the taste of memory becomes translated into real time? Who does it? So now that is what consciousness does it. You become aware of the taste. What was your experience previously of an apple? Okay, it was good. So good basically, oh, then I have to eat it. This is what the consciousness comes into the function. So the mind basically, I will go revisit these things, concepts again. The mind basically within us, it is a pleasure-seeking instrument. Yeah, I need a mobile, the latest, what is the Apple mobile. Okay, this is what the Apple mobile is basically, correct? It's wonderful, it is advertised. Now, the intelligence comes to a picture. My salary is this much. I have to save 3 months, 4 months of salary to get this mobile phone. Who does it? The buddhi does it. So now the thing is that, what is the role of Hare Krishna Mahamantra into all this? What is the role of Mahamantra? See, it is sound vibration, correct? Whenever someone vibrates, the mind also vibrates. So we say this vibration as anger, and you react accordingly, correct? Externally some vibrates, and also someone, Prabhuji played this instrument. He just did some kind of fingertips, but what is the sound that has come out? Correct? So similarly, sound we produced. We produce a sound. Suppose we have Dr. Gaurav. He produces a sound which is a particular note and a particular frequency in it. And it agitates the mind of the student or the fellow doctor. Why? Because there is a change of frequency. There is a change of tone. And it has agitated. How does it agitate? One may react, one may smile, one may cry. These are the reactions basically. So, the sound basically, it vibrates. The mind changes. And with the mind, the emotions comes up. Correct? So now what Mahamantra does? the origin of Mahamantra is not material. That is to be understood. What is material? Because now the thing is that we have just chanted. We have just chanted the Hare Krishna Maha. So you must be thinking that Hare Krishna Mahamantra, oh, these fellows we see in temples, they are dancing, so they are so emotional by nature. Oh, they must be so, all these things comes to mind. Now, what is there? I feel nothing, basically. What is there? But the point is that, as the Vedas say, the origin of this Hare Krishna Mahamantra or Om, have you heard about this sound, Om? Yeah. So the origin basically is not this material sounds that we produce. It has a spiritual origin. But it travels through the channels of the sounds channels that we use. Whatever channels that we use, it travels through those channels. And when it travels through the channels, then it first of all, what? The five senses and the mind. It goes over there. Then it goes to the manas. Then it goes to the chitta. What it does to the mind? Now just see basically, the mind, present mind is being bombarded by many thoughts. Are you aware of it? Is your present mind, just look inside your mind, is your mind bombarded by different thoughts? Correct? There are so many thoughts going on. There are so many thoughts. Someone, you may be thinking, oh, we have come to a wonderful Hare Krishna temple. Someone may be thinking, oh, I'm feeling very hungry now. There are some dominating thoughts over there. Correct? All these things are going on. Hare Krishna Mahamantra, what it does, it just cools down all those things. We call it the rewiring of the mind. It just rewires. And what it does by rewiring, it makes the mind very transparent. It makes the mind very transparent. That is the first, what effects the Hare Krishna has on the mind. The next is then, now chitta. What is the function of chitta? What did I say? It stores data, correct? It stores data, all the memories. We call it samskaras. It stores. So what it does, it deletes all those things. It deletes all those old data. For example, Panchagara Prabhu, when he was young, he used to like driving. Yeah, Prabhuji used to say, yeah.
And he's still young.
Yeah. So the frequency of those drives were much more during those times, basically, because he used to love, he used to enjoy it. But what does, after chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, what it does? Now better I chant. If he had gone 6 times in a year, now he goes only 1 or 2 times in a year.
I'm driving, I'm chanting.
So, the point is that all the material cravings, all the basically attachments which are stored within our chitta becomes what? Gradually the Mahamantra, it erases. It erases. That is what it does it. It deletes, it erases. And it rewrites on the chitta spiritual experiences. Prabhuji now, he goes and he has, because the spiritual experiences. Those are wired over there, basically. Yes? Because now whenever some experience comes, what? It will go to the chitta, buddhi will go into the chitta, what? It will come out, okay, you had this good experience of going to the temple. So, okay, let us go today. Let us go, come. Today you had a good experience. After 1 week, again, let us have another experience of it. That is the first thing. Next is the chitta. Have you heard there is an ahamkara also? Yes? The ego identity, basically. You see, there are 4 things. Manas, chitta, buddhi, and there is ahamkara. This is the 4 components according to the Vedic paradigm, basically. We say, in short, Srila Prabhupada used to say man, buddhi, and ahamkara, basically. But chitta is also included within, basically. Because when you say man, it includes the subconscious mind and also the subconscious mind. Chitta basically means the subconscious. When we chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, the mind becomes purified. Why it needs to be purified? Because consciousness, as I had said, which you become more aware of, it directly flows from the soul. Mind becomes the biomedium for the flow of consciousness. Mind becomes the biomedium for the flow of consciousness. Now, if the mind basically is very much disturbed with psychosis, with mania, with bipolar disorder, and all those things basically, can consciousness come in? Can consciousness filter in? No, it can't. It cannot. We recognize all those symptoms, basically. We recognize all those things. So, Hare Krishna Mahamantra, what it does? It purifies. It makes the mind transparent. The next is that chitta is rewritten, rewired again. And the ego, basically, which is previously built upon the experiences, the ego also diminishes. It collapses. So therefore, the whole psychology, the whole components of the whole, our structure, mental structure, is being totally changed when you chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So therefore, you see, when Srila Prabhupada started this movement, he had built 108 temples. Now we have more than 1100 establishments. Why? And you will be very much pleased to know that many of our Indian diaspora in the West, they have taken it very actively. And also because, they have taken it very actively. In Russia, which is the second most successful preaching grounds after India, has become very successful because of chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So, if you see devotees dancing, you must basically understand that this is an evolved person. He has chanted Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Now one more point is that when the mind becomes pure, becomes transparent, the mind becomes the biomedium to see the soul. Have you heard the word samadhi? According to Ashtanga Yoga, samadhi is the stage. What happens in samadhi? You don't have any kind of, disturbances. There is no kind of samskaras, material samskaras over there in the mind. The mind is the direct, it becomes totally transparent. Whatever you want to think, that thought the mind takes. And who does it? It is the Hare Krishna Mahamantra that does it. And then when the mind is in the states of samadhi, then one can see exactly where the soul is. Then buddhi basically, who previously discriminates good and bad, now discriminates between what is body and what is soul. Then one becomes self-realized. So this is what I wanted to speak. Do you have questions basically? Yeah.
He was more philosophical than me.
You see that? The wrong way. So if I were in your shoe, I won't allow you to run away. There should be some questions. Because I thought he has got so many thoughts from the Ayurvedic perspective. Most of his thoughts are coming from Ayurvedic, from Shishupta and Charita. And what it specifically talk about the Yoga Sutra, we see how Vyasadeva comment on this Yoga Sutra. He brought 5 different things. He talks about the monkey mind, he talks about the butterfly mind, then he talks about, he named it to tell us that the mind is part of the problem of the human being. And Bhagavad-Gita also referenced this, that the mind is our best friend. when it is controlled, and our worst enemy. We talk about ailments, which is the center of today's discussion, advancing, holistic approach. One of the diseases that people face today is not actually, because I cannot eat or because I'm stranded, but it is the disease of the mind. I have often said this in different discussions. We can meet a physician and he can diagnose and prescribe some certain drugs based on what the individual is suffering from. But is there any medication? Is there any diagnosis for the mind? No, there's no diagnosis. You cannot diagnose the mind. It's only through the spiritual perspective that the mind can be regulated. So from his thoughts, we can see metaphysical, we can see epistemology. They all cover his thoughts. So I expect, based on all of your capabilities sitting down here, you are all, personality who will be facing the public, attending to the public. Let us see that you have some thoughts, you have some reflection, you have some questions. At least for the next 5 minutes, some questions. Area that you are not clear with. Area that you are clear, but it wasn't very clear. Or you may have come across or heard some of the terms he have used, but you find it a little bit appealing with what you have known before. He is here, he can clarify. Yes. Thank you.
Attachments, and then you can see things for the kid. So I would say that I've been doing chanting for very long. As a Guru, we started chanting for the past 1 year or so. I've seen that there are these periods of the time when you feel that everything else you're doing apart from chanting feels like an obligation. So I don't know how to see it as a good thing or a bad thing. Because the people around you, they start complaining that you don't feel more involved in it. You don't feel more involved with the family, with the relations, with everything else. So how do we see that? I hope you're getting what I'm asking.
You'd like to answer?
Huh?
You'd like to answer? Yeah.
I didn't catch the whole thing.
Oh, yeah. So she was saying that because the chanting basically she had been doing. Correct? You had said that you had felt it as an obligation, basically, correct?
Not the chanting, but everything else.
Everything else, besides chanting, she has said that it feels like an obligation, basically. So what is the right perspective of looking into it? So, I will give my initial take on it, then Prabhuji basically also can talk about it. The mind, basically, the intellect, they are all the instruments of this whole ecosystem of our existence. They are the instruments. The more we sharpen the instrument, the better memory we make it. The chitta, basically, which has innumerable amount of negative things, whether it may be phobias, whether it may be traumas, whether it may be ill feelings, and all those things, all stored over there in the chitta. Do you want to live with it? Do we all want to live in a diseased body? What is the profession of the doctors? The profession of the doctors is to make people disease-free, correct? We don't want to have, see externally the physicality that we have, the body, it may look very nice. We may apply wonderful things, we may dress up very nicely. But inside the body, if there is some disease, we will go to a doctor, correct? But if some diseases exist within our mind and we have no answer to those things, what do we do? So will we just, okay, ask the society what should we do? What should be done? Or we will do some performances so that, they can feel happy and all those things. Shouldn't we mind our own business? We should be thinking of our own career. We should be thinking of our own life, basically. You are going to live your own life, not others. This life is yours. How you want to live your life, the way you want to live your life, what destination you want to achieve, it all depends upon you. So Krishna basically, he is the ultimate well-wisher because he stays within us as the Paramatma. Through the Vedas basically, he has guided us how we should be living. That is, our friend has said, the duty, how we should be living our life. So he had said, this is how you should do it. All the diseases that exist within us, you should totally eradicate them, totally finish it off. And how we do it? We chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And after chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, when you become a better evolved person, you become disease-free, you can contribute yourself. You can contribute more towards the society, towards the patients. You can become a better contributor. You can become a better asset for the nation, for the society and everyone. Isn't not a wonderful thing? So we should not have the doubt in our mind, basically. So, somehow or the other, by Krishna's blessings, by devotees' blessings, by blessings of senior devotees, you have taken up the chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Because taking up chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is also not so easy. People, they don't chant. It is very difficult for them to chant. But you have taken it. So you should know how to defend it also. I am taking this mantra, basically. This is not a material sound vibration. It has come from the spiritual dimension. And it is helping you to revive yourself spiritually.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. The basic problem is that we've forgotten Krishna. We belong in the spiritual world. We have a relationship with Krishna in the spiritual world. And we're covered over. We're covered over by desires and aspirations. It's like a light bulb that has many, many coverings. As you take the coverings off, the illumination gets brighter and brighter. So the spirit soul is brilliant. Actually, it's very, very powerful. That little atomic spirit soul that's giving life to this whole body is brilliant because it actually belongs in the spiritual platform. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Chaito Darpanam Arjanam Bhava Mahadevagni Nirvapanam. By chanting the names of the Lord, it's cleaning the heart. If you have a mirror, it's full of dust, you cannot see yourself. And if you clean the mirror, then you can actually see your true nature. Then all the different doubts and all the different, disturbances of the mind, they go away because actually you recognize that I'm an eternal spiritual being. I'm temporarily encaged in this material body, and I'm forced to grow old, and I'm forced to die, and I'm forced to go into the womb of my next mother, whether it's a demigod, an animal, or a human being. We may believe or not believe, but the cycle of birth and death goes perpetually because the soul is ever existing. It's something that we're not going to change that. Our forgetfulness of Krishna is actually making us think that I am this man, this is my wife, these are my children, this is my country, this is my nationality, this is what I am. But actually we're none of those things because we're temporarily trapped in these bodies. I could have been whatever in the previous lives. And so this is an opportunity by chanting Krishna's name, this Maha Mantra. It's a cleaning agent. It cleans the heart, cleans the mind, And it gives you confidence, and it gives you peace of mind. Because people, they do become fearful. As old age approaches and the body, the arthritis sets in, and you no longer can see properly, and your teeth are falling out, you can't even eat properly, and your body's not functioning, and you start feeling dependent on others. And what the families do, put them in old folks' homes, let other people take care of them, till we dwindle, and practically, it's like taking a fish out of the water. You can put a tuxedo on it, you can give it millions of dollars, the fish will never be happy out of water because it's out of its nature. So we are out of the spiritual atmosphere. We're in this material world, and no matter what arrangements we make in whatever body we have, and as much wealth as we might have, as much fame and prestige, or what we think is real happiness, is all but temporary and illusory. And real happiness is awakening our true spiritual consciousness. And the medicine the powerful medicine is the chanting of the holy name. And by chanting the name, and without desires for material profit or gain, but you just, the mantra means, Lord, somehow or other I've fallen into this material world of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of suffering and engage me in your service. Everyone's serving in one capacity or other. Husband is serving the wife is serving the husband, the president is serving the citizens, and everyone has a service attitude. So we're actually eternal servants of Krishna. And Krishna has unlimited, in Goloka Vrindavan, unlimited goddesses of fortune. It's not that God needs our service, but he has a loving exchange with each and every one of us. But when we actually open our eyes and recognize that actually I belong in the spiritual world. I'm not this temporary body, and all the temporary illusions that I have for happiness in this world are basically a dream, because it all just fades away and is finished. But spiritual life is eternal life. And the way to achieve and awaken that spiritual life is by chanting the holy name of the Lord. As Janitai Prabhu said, it's not an easy thing because we might not have a taste for it. Just like a person who has jaundice, they say the remedy, medicine, is rock candy for jaundice, but that sweet rock candy tastes very bitter to a diseased person. So one may feel, following rules and regulations, chanting mantras and living in a different atmosphere, this is very difficult. It may seem like that, but actually it's very, very pleasurable that the anxieties and the fears of this material world disappear, and you awaken your spiritual energy, your spiritual strength. So we chant the holy name, and the more we hear Bhagavad-Gita from the right source, the more we associate with, birds of a feather flock together. We're all interested in singing, dancing, chanting, feasting, having festivals, and we have lots of festivals here. Sometimes we take motorcycle trips to the mountains, nothing wrong with that. I've been up to, Badrinath and Yamunotri, Gangotri, and my bullet. My wife used to go with me, but now she's busy with my son and grandsons. But I'm not sure if I addressed your question, but just keep chanting and try and hear more and more. And association is very valuable, because the mind has a tendency, if it's not controlled, to suggest, let's go. I mean, what do people do? They want to go dancing. They want to party. They want to have a good time. So in the spiritual world, there's dancing, there's singing, there's music. Whenever Krishna kills a demon, the demigods are playing drums and cymbals. I'm a drummer, by the way. I'm a drummer. And you hear about it in Krishna book and the Bhagavatam. There's always the demigods and the demons are always having conflicts. And whenever the Lord, he always comes out victorious. There's singing, there's dancing, there's apsaras, gandharvas, beautiful voices, beautiful personalities. And they're having an ecstatic time, and that's available. And it's not that like a dream that, oh, that's just, some mythology, you don't believe in these kind of things. But it becomes a reality. The more you chant, the more you associate, the more you hear. I mean, I've been around for 51 years. I'm still liking it. It's good. It's having fun. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Yes, one question or we'll proceed? Okay. Okay, yes, please.
I wanted to ask, does subconscious really become the conscious something?
Does the subconscious become?
Really becomes conscious something?
Really become conscious? Okay, okay. See, yeah, please sit. See, when we talk of the mind, basically, it is the conscious and the subconscious. It is the conscious. It is just divided into two, correct? One is basically the present consciousness. The mind is the awareness, present awareness, what you are, what is your name, basically what you're dressing, and the family relationships and all those things. But you had a history also, correct? So you had your younger self, for example, you were in your cluster tent. So do you remember this day on when you were 10 years old, what you were doing? We don't remember. But all those things are stored, correct? When someone does past life regression therapy, correct? Past life regression therapy basically. So all these facts becomes basically, they come to the conscious mind. From the subconscious mind, they bring to the conscious mind. And when they become aware of this, for example, some negative thing that had happened, for example, some kind of trauma that had happened in the past. And because of this trauma, it's affecting the person's performance, productivity, relationships in some way or the other. So what they do is that, this kind of psychoanalyst, what they do is that, they bring this fact from the past to the present conscious self basically. And they ask the person to see basically what exactly it is, just as a sakshi, just as an observer. Just as an observer. So when the person sees, for example, you see, as a 10-year-old, for example, you were afraid of darkness, correct? And your house was in a very isolated place. And because the parents' punishment for you was that they always will say that if you do something wrong or if you are not studying, we will put you outside the house where there is no light. Huh? Correct? So they are using this basically, this situation, so that you study. But within your mind what you have is that the fear of darkness is there. Correct? The fear of darkness. So that stimuli of fear of darkness is stored within your chitta or within your subconscious. What does psychoanalysts do? They will bring this picture, they will show you, see, outside the house there is nothing, there are no demons. They will go and see. Now you see, there's roads, there is nothing to fear. So you become aware of this whole situation. Why there was fear? Because of ignorance. Because you didn't know the reality actually. So because just mother built up certain things, you see, bhoot will come and all those things will come. And now there is nothing like this. So that is the reality basically. So this is how present day, hypnosis and all those things, they solve these issues. Now, added to this thing, basically, any more questions regarding this?
So what is going on? So we don't respond to this question. Is that the reason why people does not climb to 100 or, is because of what we eat. And today, people eat junks just to keep the stomach running. And when you develop disease, they begin to think, what is going on? So what we eat is an important aspect of life. And we see how Bhagavad-Gita explains different aspects of what we eat. There are food in the mood of goodness. The food in the mood of goodness help us to contemplate simple living and high thinking. But in the food in the mood of raja, passion, it dwindles, our thoughts. Why the last stage is in the food in the mood of tamasic, ignorance. So we have somebody, we have here Gora Narayana, who will quickly, throw light into this aspect of what we eat. Then, in a short time, then we can really sit down to listen to our distinguished professor, Gora, who will be taking us through the different parameters of the subject of our gathering today. Let us not forget also, as we proceed after this whole discussion, we will go to Goshala, though it's raining now. Then we'll eat some sumptuous prasad. And if the weather is favorable, then we can take some laddu, feed the cows, then come back to the temple for darshan. Because by now, the Pakoji is still taking some rest. The temple opens by 4:30. So please, we will call on Gora Narayana, who will speak on the frequency of what we eat. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. I was about to ask Raghunath Prabhu, I'm talking on a tough topic. It's middle of the day, talking about the food. Would there be any food or not? Because the mind is running on a food now. Must be running on a food. And I was wondering how long I should speak, or should I even speak or not? But because you've been having so much information, then I was like, oh, they are doctors. They are not engineers. They can handle so much information in a day, isn't it? If you would be engineers like Prabhuji and us, by this time from the back, people have been going out. Doctors can handle, right? Are you guys okay, comfortable, sitting for long? You're used to it.
Therapy on themselves.
You're used to it, right? So nothing new. We're not adding anything new to you. Okay.
I might disappear though. I have another meeting. I had 3 meetings today.
I don't blame you. If I would be you, I would have gone by now anyways, because I'm so hungry. So I'll try to wrap it up as soon as possible. But let's start with a small Mangalacharan, because I'm sitting with all my seniors here. And let's light it up. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tashmai Shri Guruve Namo Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Mangalacharan, I'm sure most of you are familiar. If not, then we just invoke auspicious prayer so that whatever we speak resonate with your hearts, and whatever we say comes in with some strength, because I don't know how much strength I have. First of all, I would like to say thank you. And I would say thank you to Prabhuji for inviting me. No way, form, shape, I'm expert in any of these topics. I wouldn't say I'm claiming. But as an engineer, we have something special qualities. I've done 3 different engineering. Engineers couldn't do practically everything apart from engineering. Actually, there's a statistics. Only 10% of engineer, maybe 15%, end up doing what they actually came for and from their core field. Otherwise, they are managers, running shows, shops, whatever you tell them. That's what they're doing. How many of you watched that movie, Three Idiots? Everyone watched, right? What did the engineer do? They can be midwife as well. They can be midwife. So we're talking about the food here today. And we're not talking about the food from the point of view of the science, because that's not my expertise. You are more established on that field. So I'm sure you have more idea how the protein, carbs, microbes, whatever works under it. That's not my expertise, so we wouldn't go into that. Just yesterday or day before yesterday, I was hearing or reading somewhere, they were saying that they have decoded the genome for the arhar dal or whatever the dal. So the modern science is going that far. We can't. But what we can do is take a break. No, I'm just kidding. What we can do is, can you still hear me? Oh, the light is there. Ask a simple question. If we ask you, is food simply a source of calories, nutrition, or is something more to it? What would you say? There is something more? Okay. See, in India at least a good thing is like you can nod the head and we know that what you heard it. If you hadn't been in the West, you would say, okay, there no. But you can nod the head. It's nothing, it's not like a classroom here. Yes. As we were saying, since we are on the same page on this note that we understand, the food is more than just these calories and all things. It is actually shaping us, who we are. So the Vedic tradition, especially the Bhagavad-Gita, in the 17th chapter, goes into this and starts telling about how the food actually shapes us, who we are. Oh, sorry. I was looking for the Bhagavad-Gita, but then I realized that I have this in my phone here. How many of you have heard of the three modes of material nature? No one, huh? No one? Someone has heard? No. Okay. Okay, good. We have a Satogun, Tamogun, Rajogun. In English, if you don't come from the Sanskrit background, neither I, but I just learned this word. Mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. So we have these three modes. So Prabhuji asked us to speak that how the food in the mode of goodness is actually good for our well-being, and how does it actually help in shaping who we are. I believe that most of you are coming from that psychiatry, or is that, or you are general practitioner? Psychiatry. Great. So,
you are what you eat, they say, right?
Yeah, you are what you eat. So hopefully it will resonate with you. So the framework that Krishna is giving in the Bhagavad-Gita is not actually to replace what the modern science actually knows. It's actually giving you a different perspective to it, a food for the thought, that how about you think from this angle and see if it make any sense to you. If I ask you a simple question, can the quality of your food define how long you live? Yes? Can it define how you feel? You feel happy or not? We've been to the restaurant, right? You paid for something and it's like, oh my God, they just paid for the table and chair. There's nothing in the food. Happened to you? The quality of food can change our life. I mean, how we're feeling, how long we'll live, and of course, whether it is making us healthy or not. One of the first things the doctors say if you go to him, if you're sick, what do you say? What did you eat? That's where they start their diagnosis. What did you eat last night? If you're saying I'm sick. So food is a very powerful thing. As a doctor, what are we actually trying to do? Okay, some of you are sleeping at the back? No. Okay, good. So let's make it a little interactive. Otherwise, I would get like I'll feel like a monologue, which I definitely don't like giving monologues. If you have to summarize your job in 3 sections, what would you do as a doctor? What is the purpose of being doctor? Anyone? If you don't, I will put you on a spot. So rather you speak. Huh?
Health of our patients.
Help your patients, okay. Give us a few more. You invested 5 years of your life doing medicine, 2 years of practice, lots of night shift. There must be more reasons. You're not there, you didn't become a doctor just to prescribe medicines, do you? No, I don't believe that. So what are the other reasons? Why do you become doctor? If you're not sure, you must have been an engineer. Accidentally become doctor. Because engineers only don't know why they become engineer. No, I mean it. They don't know. I've done the electronics, then I moved from there, then I did the railway, then I moved from there. So we don't know what we do. But doctor, I believe, they invest so much substantial time. Why do we become doctor? Okay, improve the health and? You shy or you don't know? Okay, let's not dig it, since you are too shy. Longevity, right? We're trying to increase the lifespan. We're trying to help people to live longer. What we're trying to make them? Healthier. Oh, wonderful. Now you have a voice. Good. Helping people to live better. Right? That's the 3. If I summarize the whole thing, what we're trying to do is that's what we're trying to do. Someone comes to your office, or hotel, hospital, he says, okay, what do you want to do? Baba, this is sick. Please, could you make it better? We want to live happy. This is creating so much havoc in our house. No one is happy in the house because they're creating so much whatever. We want to live happy. In principle, that's what the three things we're trying to do. And Krishna is saying something amazing. He's saying the kunji, the solution for these things are not starting in a GLA or Sanskriti. It starts in kitchen. And here's the beautiful verse Krishna saying in the Bhagavad-Gita. Those who can understand Sanskrit, great. If you're not, no problem. You can join the club. Ayu sattva bala arogya shukha piti vivardhana rashaya snigdha stira hridya araha sattvika priya. Foods dear to those in the mode of goodness increase the duration of life, purify one's existence, and give strength, health, happiness, and satisfaction. Such foods are juicy, fatty, wholesome, and pleasing to the heart. Is that what you're not trying to do as a doctor? You're trying to do, right? Some of you are not sure, but let me reassure you, that's what you're trying to do. That's what you got the degree for. That this is what we're trying to make. And Krishna is giving in just one verse the formula for that. How do you do that? Now, we're not competing with the modern science. We said no. Sometimes people say, oh, modern science have achieved this. And we say, no. We're not competing. We're trying to complement each other. We're not telling you that what you know has no value. We said, no, what you have learned, what you have studied has so much value, but if you add this, it would go exponentially. You would understand the full picture. Like when you prescribe something to a patient, he may or may not understand the full picture why you're prescribing. But because you have a full knowledge, you see the full picture. And you know that this is adding value to their life. So who created this world? Not in a lab. Someone created it. What's the name of the guy? Not a Big Bang. Doesn't matter. Yes, Krishna. At least the tradition where we come from, we call him Krishna. But doesn't matter which tradition you come from. You will attribute some name to him or her or whatever. But someone else created it. So here Krishna in the Bhagavad-Gita saying that I created this world. And here, while I created this, I give you the formula how to live in this world happy, healthy, and stress-free life, which can increase your life longevity. And while you're doing these things, all you have to do is focus on your plate, what goes in your mouth. So, if we break down this, first thing Krishna is saying, if you see the order, again, sorry, I'm looking for Bhagavad-Gita and man. If you see the order of the verses, Krishna is not speaking about the health straight away or the taste. He doesn't actually even speak about the taste here. He's not saying, okay, what is the most amazing tasty thing? He will talk in the later verses where he tells the quality of the mode of the food which is in the mode of goodness. Huh?
You want to give him a Gita?
It's okay. It's okay. I have a Gita here. I just I forget that it's in my. No, because I have a habit of having my hands, so it's like, it's a default position.
Engineers.
Yeah. Can't work without the calculators now. Can't live without the phone either. Anyways, it's called a bhashma. So the demon you create, it devours you, isn't it? Happens. So one of the creation what we did. So if you see the sequence, Krishna first, one of the first thing he's saying, Ayu, life. So if the patient comes to your hospital, or whatever condition they are in, and you say, I have a problem with my hands, and you see if it's a life-threatening thing, what would you do? You say, okay, let go. Because saving the person is more important than saving the hands. So most important thing is Ayu. That's why people keep people in a ventilator or for however long they live, because they're trying to prolong the life. So that's what Krishna is saying. The first thing, if you eat the food which is in the mode of goodness, what will you do? It will increase the lifespan of your life. It will increase the Ayu. Do you want to increase your life? Right. That's why you're spending 18 hours in a day in a shift. No. But at least we want to help people. Sometimes we see the doctors. Actually, they are one of the most stressed people. I do have some friends. They will tell their patients, don't smoke. But they are chain smokers themselves. But they say, whether I can live or not prospectively, but let me help them. So if you think, even from that point of view, one of the first advice you can give to your friends is, or to the patient is, eat healthy because you can have a longer life. And just in case if you want to try in your life, you can try that as well. It works. It's been working for thousands of years. The one who has created this world has given the formula for that. Yeah, so that's the modern science say. If you ask them what is the greatest achievement of the modern science, what they say? We have increased the lifespan of the human being. Before, people were dying for every simple disease. Now they can be cured. India recently become a polio-free, maybe a few years back, or I don't know, a recent decade. Before, so many people were dying from it. So they say, we have increased the lifespan. So Krishna is giving very simple formula for increasing the lifespan, that okay, you don't have to fight to preserve the life. You can actually do something back home and increase the life. As I said, at no way from shop we are reducing the importance of the medicines. Second thing Krishna is saying, the purity of the mind. Here we're not saying about the purity, or we can go on to that. If we touch briefly, one of the fastest growing medicine industry is mental health, right? They say from 1990 to now, it has grown like twofold, and 1.2 billion people are suffering from mental health. This is practically every fifth person in this current world. That's a crazy number if you see. What do they have? Anxiety, poor sleep, anger, burnout, all these problems. Krishna is saying decision fatigue. Krishna is saying all these things can be sorted by adding the sattva in your life, adding the food. Because the food you eat, that carries the consciousness. The food is not just, you see when mom cooks, we can find out your mom cook, right? When you eat the food in a temple, you will feel the difference. What has changed? It's just the consciousness and how it is cooked, how it was produced. Otherwise, why two people in a similar situation, Prabhuji was talking about consciousness. two people in the same situation, why they make two strange, radically different decisions. Came from the same places, coming from the same background. Because it's not about the external, many times it's internal. So that internal is changed. One of the way you can change it through food. The most amazing way to change is through the chanting this beautiful mantra what Prabhuji was telling in the beginning. And so that's how you train, as Prabhuji was saying. You can train your mind, you can train your conscious and subconscious mind through this simple thing, adding the sattva in your life. So we can go on a length, but I guess we are running short on a time. But in a sequence of these things, third thing Krishna is saying that Bala, you will get the strength, not just the physical strength, but the strength to make conscious decisions. You will get, and towards the end, you will say that by doing all these things, then you have a good health. And when you have all of these things, what would you do? What would you be? Happy. Simple. So I guess as a psychiatrist, what we're trying to make them happy and healthy. It's simple. So simple as Prabhupada said, we will miss it many times. So we don't have to miss. Simple verse in the Bhagavad-Gita you can read. So thank you so much for coming all the way. Maybe some other time when we come to a university or hospital for discussion, not for the for the solution. Maybe then we can expand more on this. I guess because we have to go for food, and I guess Gaurav Prabhu need to speak. Hare Krishna. Questions we can have it in a food.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gura Naraya. We've had that the values of what we eat. We are what we eat. If you eat good, positively, you think positively, you talk positively. Just like I said, the way you make your bed, that is how you lie in bed. So all these different principles, they have relevance in our day-to-day life. And we see that the values of Mahaprasad is something we cannot emphasize. Sometimes I have seen in different places that when I went or go along with Prasad to have a discussion with certain people, thank you. I have seen, this is a practical experience, when I go to some certain place for conversation, discussion, I will see that there are some, different organizations that will come with some food. But when I explain the relevance of what I have, could you believe me, they won't look outside what I have. And after honoring this prasad, they will testify that there is different. Though we have been used to this, but what you have given us now is completely different. This is Mahaprasad. Whatever we have in this temple is all to the deity, the Thakurji. We offer to them before we honor. So not just for prasada enhance our longevity, and it helps us to think positively, especially when it comes to involving in spiritual activities. You see, why is it necessary? You see, the consciousness of person making the prasad, if the consciousness is negative, you who eat that prasad or you who eat that food will also be infected with that negative consciousness. So we encourage people as much as you can take prasad. Be careful with what you eat outside the roads or sides the roads. Those guys there, they are not too much concerned with your health. They are concerned with what you have in your pocket. That is the basic mindset. Imagine somebody having this kind of mindset. If you go there with a good consciousness, at the end of taking that prasad, your consciousness will become money. It will be altered. So this is many reasons. These are among many reasons why we encourage people, as much as you can, take prasad. Because Vidura instruction to Dhritarashtra is that when people are careful with what they eat, they will live longer. And you all know from your experience, that when there is no disease in this stomach, one will live longer. So on this note, I will call on our distinguished professor and the Deputy Vice Chancellor of KD University to come and enlighten us more on area that the modern generation are suffering from. Thank you. Sir, you want to use projector, right?
You can.
Okay.
I will just wait till I'll start talking. It's not. With your permission.
Yeah, please. I'm going to go sit behind. I'm the wife from the backside.
You can just stop.
We like to see the picture, please. We like to see the picture.
Okay. I can start till.
Yes, they will start.
Because I understand everyone is hungry, so I need to finish fast. So, good evening, everyone. Hare Krishna. It's always tough to speak at the last because, and especially when you are the least educated in this discipline. But I'll try to do justice in whatever way I can. And we were talking about food just before this thing. So, how did I came to this place in my life where I'm sitting in ISKCON and talking to you about something? So, when I started my intellectual journey, the first thing that came into my mind is, like any other teenager will think about it, is that I want to know more. We all know about experiment in psychiatry in which a monkey kept in a cage, and if he was trying to look outside the window, his food was starved, but still he continued to look outside because humans are intuitive by nature. And if they are not intuitive, then maybe they are not considered that much of human also. So I thought I'll be a space scientist, a rocket scientist, we'll explore more, we'll learn more, and we'll get to know more and more about this universe, this Brahmand, whatever you want to term that. But then I came to a very deep realization that I have limited time in life to learn all this. Let's say 60, 70, 80 if I am lucky enough. So what happened then, I thought, how can I prolong life then? So then I took a medical career just with this simple thought that how can we prolong life. But I soon realized that even prolonging life has its own limitation. Now, we can prolong it by 10 years if we do our best. Let's say 15 years if we do very, very good. And then there are accidents and there are asteroids coming to Earth, destroying dinosaurs and 50 other things. You cannot live forever. That is very, very sure. So then what? Every one of us is born with this existential anxiety of fear of death. We may, and when I'm talking all this, I'm already saying sorry to the learned ISKCON people here because I'm not well versed with ISKCON. I will be speaking what I have known and what I have learned from Vrindavan and my experiences. So, like I said, that everyone has this existential anxiety that what after death? Okay. Now, we talk about ISKCON and it is all based on ancient wisdom. When we say ancient wisdom, you may argue, and there are engineers here, that let's say 2000 years back, we may not have the Pushpak Viman, we may not have, let's say, the Brahmastra, the analog of nuclear weapon, but at least we had the moral analogs because people had a lot of time then. As a country, we are 75 years old. As a civilization, we are thousands of years old. So just this thought process that someone can think on how to live, what is the best way to live and what is the best moral compass to live. I think if we compare it with the modern civilization and the modern thoughts, psychiatry is hardly 200 years old. And the times of Jean Charcot, Sigmund Freud and whatnot, they are just 200, 300 years old. And when we are talking about ancient wisdom, we are talking about thousands of years old. So we have to keep this in mind that they had much more time than us to realize what was the truth. And they are more likely to find about the truth because they had so much of time with them. So always respecting the ancient wisdom is what is making sense actually. When we say logic and we say sense, it makes sense that maybe they are not very scientifically advanced, but they were emotionally, materially and morally more advanced because they had a lot of time to experiment with things and come up to a particular conclusion. With this thought, then the second thought is, there is an atheist view, there is nothing after death. And there is an agnostic view, I don't want to get into this. Maybe it is there, maybe it is not there. And the third one is, like most of us believe, is there is something after death. And why do we believe there is something after death is because it is positive. When we say there is nothing after that, it automatically makes us negative that, okay, we are someone who are very short-lived. Like someone mentioned just now, we have billions of years of universal evolution, we are just a speck in that whole timeline. And when we say that, okay, we are eternal, it is giving us more positivity. It is giving us something to think about that, okay, I am also important. If we just stop thinking that we are important and will just die and become ash, then the whole thing goes away, and then what the anxiety and depression actually creeps into. Very well discussed by Prabhuji that brain is body is a hardware and mind is a software. Now it becomes imperative to discuss that what actually are the qualities of this software. Okay, what affects this software? So we have some practical examples which you can think about that actually what is affecting this software that is driving the whole body or driving the whole thing with us. One is definitely hardware matters. If your body is not well, your mind is going to be not well. Everyone knows this mind-body relationship. If your social contexts are not good, then your mind will also not be good. So how does WHO defines well-being is? Complete physical, mental, social well-being. Now, how do we come to mental well-being then? So the software ki hum baat kar rahe hain, the software that we are talking about repeatedly has the characteristic that it gets affected by certain things. One is the physical things, the one is the senses, the third one is definitely the aapka jo social circle hai. Now, the other thing that can affect your mental well-being is definitely a belief in higher self. What is spirituality? If I may try to discuss on this. Many have many definitions of spirituality. I consider it something that a person has as an intuition that there is something beyond what is visible to the eye. And if you believe in that something beyond that is visible to the eye, you can call it God, you can call it consciousness, you can call it what you can say something that is metaphysical, something that may be not even present in this universe but in the next universe, something may be present in next janam and not in this particular birth time, but there is something that is beyond what meets the eye. And when we say that there is something beyond that meets the eye, then we need to understand one very important thing, that what is meeting the eye is or may not or certainly not is not true. So the term that is very well described in the past lecture also, Jagat Mithya, Brahma Satya. So what is meeting our eye, is it true or is it not, is the question. And many of the seers have tried to answer this question. Most of them are of the opinion that we need to look beyond from this material world, and then only we can think and understand what is actually beside this, what mithya that we are talking about. Now, how to look beyond this mithya becomes the question. And I'm talking about just purely psychiatric sense. I'm not talking about the metaphysical sense or something relates to religion or something relates to what you can say higher being form that is controlling us or something like this. Nothing like this. Just pure psychiatric terms we'll talk about, that if we want to say that whatever meets the eye is not true, what evidence we have? The evidences that we have is the evidences I will just list one by one. One is, many times we come across cases of rebirth. Especially in Mathura region, if you look around, there are many reported cases of rebirth. Even Stevenson, a very well-known psychiatrist, have noted down more than 30 cases of rebirth. And what rebirth tells us is that there is definitely something after death, and that definitely something is what we can define in the further discussion. Second is, there is a psychiatrist called Brian Weiss, and he used to do the regression therapy. So in psychiatry, we all know that when a child is small, if he undergoes certain traumas, it remains with him throughout the life. Now, when we say that these traumas remain throughout the life, then sometimes going back into the past, we hypnotize the patient and we ask him to go to the past, and then he remembers that trauma and he relieves that regression. And the emotions that come out with relieving that trauma actually helps to decrease the anxiety and the symptoms that are present. In case of Brian Weiss, when he was taking the patient to the childhood, it went back to the past life. And then he became expert in something called past life regression therapy, and he had many cases in which he was actually able to go into the past life and tried, and they did the healing part of that. So the psychiatrist, as a psychologist, we have this another evidence that says clearly that there is something beyond what meets the eye. The third thing is the world we live in. What world we live in terms of engineering, if I talk about, there is a law of thermodynamics that says energy can neither be created nor be destroyed. We all know this law. So does that mean that energy is zero? Because if there is even a 1% of energy present, it should come from something. So the world we live in, the law of thermodynamics itself describes that whatever we see, whatever we do, sum total is zero. Okay. Now we have a body. In that body we have cells. In cells we have molecules. In molecules we have atoms. In atoms what we have a nucleus and then a lot of empty spaces around. We don't see empty spaces when we see each other. But the 99% of us is actually composed of those empty spaces. But the projection that is coming to our senses, it creates an image of being someone present, that someone is present, and we acknowledge that present because we are used to this thing. Second important thing is, and this is pertaining to the very modern science. So we used to talk about a very, because we are in the engineers, I think most of the examples are coming from the engineering side also, only in my mind. So they used to say that nothing can travel faster than speed of light. This is a very important question, aspect of realism, because if something travels more than speed of light, the realism does not happen. It violates all the Einstein's principles and other laws. But we recently in 2022, there was an experiment called quantum entanglement, and we were actually able to say that we do not require, the information can travel definitely faster than the speed of light. Then we have the age-old experiment of what we say the two-slit experiment, in which we were able to say that fundamental particles of nature are actually both present as wave as well as a particle. So it's like this, when you are not observing the particles, they behave as wave and probabilities. But as soon as you take your attention to that particle, it becomes a reality. And the reality that becomes a reality then becomes reality for everyone that is present with us. So what does that prove? That in a world of probabilities, there is constantly something that is creating illusion-made reality, and that reality is what we are perceiving and trying to live in that, trying to be adjusting to that reality. And like one of my students asked that I chant mantra regularly, and all of a sudden I thought that everything is not right and obligation and all. Actually it is obligation. So when you actually start experiencing the real thing, the world will seem like obligation, because that is what the Shastra says, that everything is mithya, and whatever you see, whatever see is the illusion. Now what is beyond that illusion is the question that comes. Everyone tries to answer in their own ways, what can be beyond this illusion. There are some religions that have a simple explanation that when you die, when the soul is liberated from the body, it is then put towards a test, and then it becomes heaven, and then it becomes hell. So an existential psychiatrist will question, okay, then what after that? I am thrown into hell. Now it has been 1,000 years, my body is burning again and again. They are doing all types of brutalities with me. I will get accustomed to it. Then what? Okay. The answer to it then comes a big level above, that heaven or hell may or may not exist, but definitely they are not the end point of things. And then when we go to our Vedic philosophy, Vedic religion, the end game is, what I understand, is never heaven or hell, is always merging into the Godhead, merging into the Krishna consciousness, and whatever you are totally then a part of the bigger consciousness that it is. So that leaves us with some of the other important questions that comes with that. If there is a consciousness that is present everywhere, and that consciousness is present inside us also, and it is that consciousness that keeping us that perceive the worlds for us, then how this consciousness is related to each other? Are we connected to each other? Are we connected directly to the consciousness as only happens after we die? Then we get connected to the consciousness. And can we actually, the consciousness is only one, or there are multiple types of consciousness that we connect to? So as a psychiatry student, I came across a very important and very funny fact that some of the examples in which the past life regression therapy was going on, so what happened? They remembered timelines in which they were two lives in the same timeline. Now how it is possible? It is almost impossible, because okay, you can say that 400 years back, or 2000 years back, I was a Greek soldier and I was the part of the whole army and I died during the battle and all. Simultaneously, you are describing that at the same period of time, you were also present somewhere in Sri Lanka. It cannot happen. So then there came two conflicting theories, that it is actually not the past experiences of a particular person. It is channeling into the past experiences of the whole humanity itself. Whatever you are able to recall, whatever part you are able to get it from the consciousness, that is what actually you see, and that is actually what you experience. It's like there is an ocean and you put a drop in it. When you put a drop in that ocean, what happens is that it mixes with the ocean. But remember, even that drop that is mixing with the ocean, the point where it actually drips will have the most concentration, and the point which is the farthest the probability of that having that concentration is the least. So what happens is, when you are born in India and you try to remember the past lives, you come up most of the instances of the past lives in India itself. Or you become you remember the instances in which you were actually a part of the same tradition, the same family. There are many past life experiences in which the grandson claims that he was the grandfather, and things like this. So in psychiatry, when we talk about all these things, we talk about that. Now, there was one very important term used called Chitta Vritti Nirodha. And this is what I actually try to practice, and also I have becoming slowly and slowly understanding this whole fact. Now, when we say this world is an illusion, and I'm saying this after scientifically discussing with you that actually this world is an illusion. When we say this world is an illusion, what is the way to look beyond? To look beyond is, first of all, you have to shut whatever this world is throwing at you. What this world is throwing at you is senses. Okay, you have 5 senses, and they keep giving you information. You keep processing that information. If you can shut that senses, you can close your eyes. You can be in a state in which you are not able to feel those senses. Those are secondary things. The second thing is thought itself. How can I stop my thought? Very interestingly, in psychiatry, most of the processes called CBT and behavior therapy, they focus on how to actually change thoughts from negative to positive. Every psychiatrist will tell you it is impossible to stop automatic negative thoughts. Or what you can do is, when you have those automatic negative thoughts, you can convert it into the positive thoughts. What I understand with this Chitta Vritti Nirodha the philosophy is, you can actually stop the negative thoughts also from coming, because you have trained your senses in a way in which they are performing as per your will. So you have stopped your senses, then you try to stop your thoughts, then you try to stop your intellect. Because what happens most of the time is, when we are going into meditation, when we are thinking about things, the intellect comes into picture. How to solve the problem? How can this problem be seen in another way? What all can I think about it apart from this thing? So you have to shut down your intellect also. The fourth thing that comes into problem is the emotions and the ego, like the ahamkara that Sir described. If you have an ego, if you have emotions associated with that ego, then also they will stop you from seeing beyond. So how can we switch all these things? There are many methods described, and very interesting, I shall give you one example. So in past, there was a rishi called Vishwamitra. And when you will hear his stories, the way he tried to steal the cow of Vashishta, and they were like loggerheads at each other most of the times, then what he did to Harishchand, you will definitely think that that person needs psychiatric help. So the same is with Rishi Durvasa. He used to meditate for a very long time, for years and years, and then all of a sudden he will give a shrap, and then all penance is lost, and then he'll again and do all those things. Then we say that this person needs anger management for sure. So you can be spiritual, but it is not necessary that you are also psychologically very advanced. Same is reverse also true. Sigmund Freud and B.F. Skinner never believed in religion or spirituality, but they were very psychologically sound people that were present, and they were the middle ground, the Carl Jungs and the others that were there. So coming back to the topic, how can you stop these things from coming into your mind is by practice. And how do you do practice is, like very many times the Tribu Swami has also shown me that diagram in which Krishna is present and Arjuna is present and all the horses are present and they are trying to hold the reins and all. Practice means trying to give yourself a thought that this whole world is a mithya and I want to concentrate on what is beyond. The thoughts will start coming. You will try to repel that thoughts, and slowly you will enter in a state by years of practice in which you are able to say that, okay, now I am not affected by my thoughts, I am able to control them, I am not affected by emotions, I am able to control them, I am not perturbed by my senses, I am able to control these senses. And this regular practice is what we term as meditation. In psychiatry, we sometimes term as deep breathing relaxation, but that is not meditation. Meditation is a very misunderstood concept. Many people will come to me say that my meditation is not good. Why my meditation is not good? Because when I try to meditate, thoughts come into my mind, things come into my mind, many things are flooded into my mind, and I am not able to concentrate. So when you say I want to meditate, then it is not something that is half an hour in a 24 hours or 1 hour in 24 hours. It is something that has to go into your lifestyle itself, the way of living. Okay, so what I personally feel is all the Shastras, all the Vedas and everything that is being discussed by the ancient people, it is actually a way to make your meditation better. And how did they learn it? They learned it by experimenting. So Sir was describing about tamasic, rasic and this sattvic food. So what happens is, they must have realized that when we are eating certain kind of food, my meditation is not getting good. Or when I am eating certain kind of foods, my mind is working so fast that I am not able to control my thoughts. And then they came up with certain food items that actually were helping in meditation. Okay, so that is what I consider is when whatever is being taught in a way, if you want to look at from the aspect of the God and the Krishna, very good, that is the best way. But if you cannot look and your intellect is coming and interrupting it, you can look at it in that way that I want to eat veg food, I want to eat good food because it helps in my meditation and it helps me to look beyond what is visible. And the tamasic food, when I eat it, I don't understand that how can I concentrate because my whole feeling of looking beyond goes away. So whatever helps you in that meditation, you do that. Okay. So I am a big fan of Patanjali Yoga Sutra, and in this they describe a condition called Nirvikal Samadhi. But Nirvikal Samadhi means that there is nothing, no thought, not even the thought that you don't need to think anything is present. Everything is gone. Before that, you have to reach that stage. Okay, you have to start your concentration on a certain thing. What can you concentrate on? You can concentrate on things that you like. Someone may like, let's say, one of my students say that I like my father. I want to consider my father. You will think about your father, but your father is not perfect. Then the thought of impurities will come and the mind will start wandering here and again. You can concentrate on mantra. In mantra, you understand the mantra is pure. Chanting mantra is actually making you concentrate on a particular thing, and by repeatedly chanting that mantra, what happens is that your concentration starts focusing on that particular thing slowly, and the rest of the things start disappearing, and then you enter into a meditative state. I have talked to some of the yogis, and they say that reaching nirvikalpa samadhi may not even be possible for many in this birth. Maybe in another birth they can think of that, but very few reach that state. But normal people can do this thing, chant mantra, concentrate on that mantra, and forget everything else. And then, like she described, there is a state that comes with chanting of mantra that you think that it happened with me 3 years back. I went into a very deep meditative state, and what happened is then I was thinking that, oh my God, I have wasted 38 years of my life. I should have started much earlier. Now only 20 years are left. How much I can progress and how much I can grow. Okay, so these sort of thoughts start coming into your mind, and then you become scared that whether it is actually that wasted time that you see, and can I actually complete what the task is to reach that meditative state in my rest 20-30 years of life that I'm left with. So in short, what I want to say is meditation, chanting mantra are the ways to look beyond the reality that is actually not there. And when you look beyond the reality, then the true wisdom, the true knowledge may come. It has never come to me up till now, so I cannot be the person who explains it first set, but definitely many in ISKCON must have reached that level, and I will definitely want to reach that level in future. So with this, I want my students to concentrate on this basic fact that ancient wisdom, Bhagavad-Gita, I consider Krishna Bhagavan as the first psychologist itself and the first psychiatrist who actually did something related to psychotherapy and treated Arjuna. So my students, I want to say is, don't look at towards the Western literature that is in psychiatry. Western literature is very recent, and I can assure you the Western literature will come to the ancient literature sooner or later. If you can have those images, 1 second. Change. So I'll give you some examples so you will understand very well how things are modified. See, truth is one. Whether Western explains it or an Indian explains it doesn't matter. And when the truth comes in, then what happens is people have different ways of explaining it. Go ahead. Next. Yes. So what happens is in psychiatry there is a very famous person called Abraham Maslow, and he gave pyramid that there is a hierarchy of need, and when you attain a lower level, there is psychological needs, then only you can proceed to safety needs, then love and belonging, then esteem needs, and self-actualization. Many thousands of years back, someone gave the concept of Gut Chakra, that in Muladhara Chakra you first have to do the survival grounding, then Swadhisthana, in which is creativity, pleasure and emotions, and exactly the same thing, just bundled up in a very different way and disconnected from religion, philosophy and Krishna. If you combine both of them, if you combine the gods with them, the religion with them, it's exactly the same thing. Like we also talked about the deep breathing, relaxation and all. So what I want to say is, whatever you find in books, after doing your PG, it's over. Now you have to look beyond your books, you have to explore, and you have to see what actually is the reality. And there is no better place than ISKCON to understand that reality, to learn that thing from the seers that are present here. Try to look beyond, try to indulge more in meditative practices. Chanting can be there. Puja is also sort of meditative practice, because you're sitting in front of God, just concentrating on the God. But then it requires an idol, vision and many other things, and your memory is also working because you are trying to obtain the mantras, you are trying to obtain the prayers from your mind. So your mind is not silent during the prayers at your home, but only concentrating on mantra then removes the necessity for that whole thing. And maybe in future, if you go beyond that into something that is much higher, and you don't even need anything to concentrate upon, best of luck to all of you. So thank you.
Thank you.
I hope I have done justice, and I'm very sorry if I have offended anything. I tried to do my best.
Thank you. So once again, we want to say a big thank you to our distinguished professor, our Guru-san. We are now coming to the end of this session. And before we draw the line, we want to reiterate again that the aim of interdisciplinary dialogue is not to debunk, but to learn from both sides, just like Srila Prabhupada said. Our Srila Prabhupada says that Shastra, holy book, should be seen from all angles. I think that is what Professor Gaurav has brought before us. I will be honest to say, I like two examples he cited. The example of Durvasa Muni and the example of Vasistha Muni. It really shows the predicament of psychiatric. Sometimes you really, that was nice. And I want to say again, to all of you who have taken time to be in this hall today, I thank you all for your patience, your kind listening. And I want to also say a big thanks, to our distinguished Pranchaguru Prabhu. Without him, I don't think what we have, gained today, we have learned, we have had, would have been possible. He has made this day possible for us by approving whatever we have assembled in this hall today. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you on exemplary. When we say Srila Prabhupada man, he is Srila Prabhupada man. This morning he was reading to us about Srila Prabhupada's 7 purposes. That is ISKCON 7 purposes. And one of it is what we are doing here today, to systematically educate people, from all angles as we reflect the scriptures. And you all are all exemplary of that. So what we have learned today, in particular, we don't want it to just, it enters or he flip away, but we want you to reflect on it. They said one good turn deserves another. So see how you can as well communicate this message. This is the mood and mission of Srila Prabhupada. We are here today, just this meditation. I was undergraduate as a philosophy student when I come in contact with this kind of forum. And what I have learned on that sitting, I reflect on it. So I'm standing here and I still remember what I have learned in that sitting is still what I'm pushing on today. So we are also throwing this same ball to you all. Don't just hear it, relish it, understand it, reflect. No, still do try to see that we share with others the values. In particular, we say bhakti-yoga. I want to draw the picture down a little, reflecting more on what you have said. We have emphasized on consciousness. In a simple term, consciousness means awareness. And somebody have once asked me a particular question. How do I know that I'm a soul? How do we know that we are souls? We are not this machine. We are not this vehicle. Is there anyone who wants to reflect on this simple question before we wind the day up? How do we know that I'm not this body? I'm not this dress. I'm something. How do I know? How do we know? Is there anybody who wants to say something to this effect? We have all had. We have addressed many, areas that draws our attention, strongly, that the body is like a dress, it's like a coat. We all have different dress here. At one point, we give it up, either because it got torn, or because it's no longer useful, or we no longer like, the way it looked like. So this body is like that. This has been addressed in a more holistic way. But the point here, how do I know that I'm not this dress, but I'm something higher? How do I know? How do we know? How do we know? So this is where the teachings of bhakti-yoga preeminence take its hierarchy. How do we know? that I'm not the dress, I'm the soul. It's very simple. Consciousness is the symptom of the soul. I give example. If, as a doctor, if you inject somebody, he feels the pain, right? Why does he feel the pain? Because the soul is there. When the soul is no longer there, even though you put a knife, he won't feel anything. And that is where you hear people say death. A dead person can never feel anything. You feel any pain because of the presence of the soul. And you develop this understanding by understanding of consciousness. Consciousness is the symptom of the soul. So we can make this distinction between the living and the dead. If something pierces my hand now, I will feel the pain. Why? Because the soul is still there. But once the soul is no longer there, even when the finger is cut off, can I feel any pain? Can I feel any pain? No. This is when you hear people say, it's gone. It's no longer available. So therefore, we thank your patients. We thank everyone. We thank our devotees, Jayanita, who has eloquently presented, distinguished everyone who has, made this a gathering, a very intellectual one. We appreciate and we thank you. But one thing we want us to leave, we don't want this kind of gathering to just for now. We still want to see that in time to come, if not in the future, we can have more of this. Discuss. We learn every day. I remember that Chanakya Pandit says, he said, rose, the flower with aroma, it has a limit, right? The flower with aroma, it has a limit. But one with knowledge has no limit. Therefore, there's a big spectrum for us to learn. And this was the thesis of Socrates. Though he know more, he said, I don't know. This is the beginning of knowledge. So I thank you all once again. So I was just trying to look at the time, which is exactly the appropriate time now. So what will we do? We will take a group picture, then we'll walk to the darshan. From darshan, then we'll go to Goshala. We take prasad before cow feeding. I think so, because prasad is already waiting. So I want to leave a remark from maybe some remark or some kirtan. What do you think? You're the father of the day.
2 minutes.
Okay. 2 minute kirtan. Okay.
I'm still jet lagged from coming from America. That was good. Yeah, consciousness is a symptom of the soul. Like you said, you feel it all over it permeates throughout your whole body, the consciousness. Okay, just to get your appetite going, we'll chant a little more, okay? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, little double time. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Srila Prabhupada
Easy.
ki, ISKCON Vrindavan Dham ki,
Jai.
Jai Jai Shri Radhe.
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna.